In your defense, it is a nasty creature who plucks food from the throats of lesser birds. Yet much like Revachol, it is also magnificent and rare. Imagine the suzerain of seagulls. The nations of Mundi proceeded to discover 5 more Isolae. Or they discovered us. All in the rush of the great inter-Islary reconnection. But these others weren't uninhabited. We had to kill people there. Wipe out indigenous populations. Gunboat economies. Or they came to do the same for us. Or had done to each other. But here, there was no one but the Skua, the Liliat Seya, and the Blood Beach, and the River Esperance. It was the new world. The Mondials used it to amass the greatest concentration of wealth mankind has ever seen. Revachol, the suzerain, revolution, poverty, and the mercurial rise of capitalism. It is. Soon it will be spring and everything will blossom.
The gangs will run wild, jacking motor carriages, ferrying amphetamines through Coal City. Spring is tough in Revachol.
I will surrender Terminal B to the Union.
She puts her hand in the rain. She's silent for a second.
We will see.
Ma'am, this may well unravel property law this side of the river. If that occurs, we may never see the end of this kind of confrontation. The next time there will be 2 strikes, then 4, then 100.
What happens will happen. The age of capital has only begun. I will talk to my employers in person. We will amputate and cauterize Martinez, if you handle the situation on the ground. Yes, Mr. Clare has a 2-month head start. I can't let it grow any bigger. And I've exhausted all my options from here.
There are no employers. She's a member of the board. Probably a partner.
You are the citizens' militia. There are no superiors.
That's right, Detective. And next time, you should confer with them before you go setting events in motion.
Despite his words, he's not really sure whether to be annoyed with you or not. Events are already in motion. Whether your actions accelerated or momentarily retarded their progress, even the lieutenant cannot really say.
Here I am. I am the face, and I'm here to answer. Rejoice, Leighton. Keep the peace, and I will keep my end of the bargain.
How far along is Cronell's investigation?
A confrontation is imminent. They have followed in your footsteps. As your investigation reaches a climax, so does theirs. They are your shadow. Arm yourselves. Armor yourselves. Protect their targets. Violence may be unavoidable, but we can limit the casualties. Soon. I do not know precisely. They have cut off all communication, you see. They know I've been feeding you information. One last thing, Lieutenant Dubois. I've given the matter much thought and come to this conclusion. You're not an amnesiac. You're insane. I know, because I, too, am insane. I just hide my illness better. And I'm rich. No, Detective. No one's as insane as you.
Don't worry, madame. I am very sane.
I'm overexposed, baby. My travels take me through the Pale dozens of times a year. I've got the longing, and I've got it bad.
She would die to return to it. The Pale, the past, anything one can return to.
The same strict psychological regimen the 8th Admiral developed when he crossed the Pale and discovered this Isola, the Volta do Mar. It's used by inter-Easlary travelers and other troubled souls, even to this day.
You could use a little of it yourself.
Watch out for yourselves. They will strike soon.
The lieutenant watches her boat grow smaller on the bay, its white sails fluttering. With worry in his eyes, he does not know if it was the right thing to do, but he doesn't say anything. You wonder what Everard has to say about this. Slowly, the sails turn grey-blue as more oxygen gets between you.
Hi, officer. Anything I can help you with?
You've graduated to Lawbringer now?
Men with authority have their quirks. Comes with never being second-guessed about anything. So what brings you here, Lawbringer? A fishing village on the seashore. This place doesn't really have a name. It's sometimes called Elysium. The sign on the street leading here is illegible. Has been since they built this place. The name is Lillian. People call me Netpicker. I think I have time for questions, and that was actually the second one.
Indeed, you're always confused as to your whereabouts. Ask her about the cool sword. Helps to break the ice.
Let's see. Who are you looking for? Okay. When did this person stay here? Oh. I've been out on the sea for most of the past week. The weather's been good for fishing, so I usually start at 4 in the morning. Yes, that's the optimal time. Got to make the most of the calm. I've been sleeping like a corpse after. The sea really takes its toll. Now I'm just waiting for the wind to settle to get out there again. Sorry I couldn't help you out. Maybe I can help you find someone else. Well, how can I assist you then, officer? Remarkable. That one already lost everything else and now his jacket too. It's a good thing too that he has an actual police officer looking for it. Good old doom spiral, upper management to the core.
That's odd. Is she actually impressed?
That's sweet of you. It really is. I check around the abandoned fish market on the boardwalk. Drunks are inexplicably drawn to markets. Might be why they have such trouble staying in business.
A phenomenon that the spectral hand theory of the market fails to account for.
If one of them lost something, that's as good a place to start looking as any. Like I said, fish mostly. Sail the waves, take care of the kids, pick nets. Right now I'm tarring a little skiff. I sell the fish to people in the Delta to serve at their fancy restaurants. Authentic insular Indian cuisine. Sometimes I also walk to the beach to see what the sea has given up. The sea is full of surprises.
Keep it professional, man. Don't make it sound like you're hitting on her. This is what is called a conversation. You don't have to be guarded right now.
wood, pieces of glass. Every once in a while we see dead bodies. Human, animal, fish, other odd sea creatures. A mine washed ashore once. Bottles, drugs also. Lost cargo in general. Most of the time it's just wood and glass.
All right. Major choice moment. You only get to ask one thing. It would be weird to say them all. Choose wisely.
Don't have any. Those get cleaned out so fast even the local bums can only stand by and watch with watery mouths. Always by strangers too. Union folk don't stand this kind of stuff around here.
You could use a hit right about now. Any hit, really. Feel that itch in your hands? The stiffness in your neck? That strange restlessness in your bones?
Unfortunately, the factory sold this one with a 3-year warranty instead of a story. It's to intimidate folks, mostly. Not really. I know some basic moves, and I know it sure as hell beats a knife when you're in a tough spot.
But not when you're in a tight spot.
Guns are expensive. And fragile, I think. Besides, I got kids. Can't have guns around them, and sometimes a sharp blade is enough to keep folks at bay.
And sometimes it isn't.
From time to time, people need a lesson in respect. That's just the way it is. Back in the day, I caught the eyes of many men. And believe me, men need a lesson in manners from time to time. Sure. Venomosity. But boys will be boys, and God knows we don't have many around. So far, the sword has been enough to keep them in line. No, I'm afraid not. Tempting to confiscate the blade I used to keep these animals in check. You would put me in an early grave. What makes you think we haven't? The truth is that almost everyone in this life is scared and tired and stupid and too dull for that. That goes for men too. But they put on an act for us. Pretend like everything's good and living in shit doesn't bother them. Like anyone falls for that.
Not bad.
Sure. It looks as if you could face down any horror in the world with that same unchanging grin. It's like a shield.
The traces of her laughter are still there, in her eyes, fading fast.
Some went to patch their wounds, their lesson learned. Others were more thick-headed. And one of them, I ended up marrying. Guess I enjoyed the way he bled.
If it is, then why the melancholy?
Gone.
It absolutely does not. We are not going to look for him.
No. There's nothing to find. He's dead. Lost to the waves.
The lieutenant shakes his head again.
Yeah. By himself. Inadvertently. He never respected the sea. Went out there drunk like a skunk, and sure enough, one day, he didn't come back. Now, before you tell me how sorry you are for my loss, know that it was 4 years ago, and I've moved on. There's only so much mourning you can do for a drunk with sinewy muscles.